Manchester United say they are pleased with the winter transfer business. Malacia joins PSV on loan. Martinez's injury fears are confirmed. Last day bid for Bayern Cherry was rejected. Tell details are revealed. Rashford's future plans. All this plus more in today's video as we run through all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So, the dust settles on a crazy transfer window. We've had swap deal rumours with Osimhen, Garnacho and Mainu up for sale. The Matisse Tell saga and Cunha, Jamie Gittins, Rashford to Barcelona, Casemiro to Saudi, Dorgu. So many transfer stories that we've had to go through. And now that it's finished, Man United's transfer window was Dorgu, £25 million, Aiden Heaven, £1.5 million, Diego Leon for around £7 million, although he's gone back to loan on to South Africa, and our outs was Rashford, Anthony, and Malacia, all on loan. Anthony's no option to buy. Rashford's got a 40 million option to buy. Malacia, we're still waiting for the finer details. Apparently it is going to include some kind of buy option, but it's not yet fully confirmed as well. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about Manchester United's transfer window? For me, I've calmed down a little bit from yesterday. I'm a little bit kind of, disappointed, reactionary, paying too much attention to social media, which is a lesson for me as well. But, when the dust settles, I'm disappointed not to have bought in a forward. But the reality is we are in a sell to buy situation. We haven't sold anybody. There's reasons for that: wages, form. Like, who's buying any player from Man United right now that's on form, apart from Garnacho was the only player that was up for sale, but nobody wanted to sell Garnacho. So it's kind of like one of these, well, okay, we're in a financial mess. We're losing on average £100 million per season, which by any stretch of imagination for any business is unsustainable. And a majority of that is going from transfer fees, wages, and the club running costs. And we've tried throwing money at the problem in the past, which has just got us back into this mess and this situation that we're in currently. So, it's a really kind of difficult. It's just frustrating for me because we seem to have kind of got rid of players and not to replace them, and effectively almost weakened ourselves a little bit. But when you analyze it, Rashford wasn't playing anyway. Anthony is a body, but he's not going to be missed on the pitch. It's just in terms of rotation. And Malacia has been half a shadow of himself since his injury, since he came back as well. So it's probably the right thing. It's just we can't remove anybody else because nobody else is kind of buying them. And it is frustrating. It is frustrating, but we'll go through the kind of rest of the news as well. But then when you think about like the forwards, the ones that we were mainly linked with at the end of the season was Matisse Tell, who is one that I would have taken, but I was not very convinced by. I did say in a previous video, I'm not entirely convinced by Tell because, he's 19-year-old, unproven, he's played less than 500 minutes for Bayern Munich this season, has got 1 assist. Is he really the answer? And probably not. I mean, he might go into Tottenham and ball it out and I'll look like a right bell end in a few weeks' time. But it's a risk to kind of bring in. It's not necessarily the answer. It just would have been a body to bring in, and could have offered something different. It would have been like nice to just see something different up front because what we've been watching this season has been very dull and boring. But the other player was in Dorgu. Chelsea wanted a £65 million obligation to buy or a straight transfer for £65 million. We don't have that sort of cash available. Plus, why would we buy another injury-prone player for that sort of money from Chelsea? We would have learnt nothing from the Mason Mount situation. And then the other one was Leon Bailey, and I don't think there was any serious interest in him anyway. It's probably just an inquiry just to see, could we do a deal if we went through? Cunha we weren't getting too expensive. Apparently Dorgu from when we went to RB Salzburg asked for like a lot more than what we were willing to pay as well. So you've got to kind of put things into perspective. So I've calmed down a little bit as well. It's frustrating to not get a forward in, but we signed a left back. That was the priority this transfer window, bringing in a left back. And then when you look back on United's history, we've actually The last permanent signing we made in January was Bruno Fernandes. So we've actually had a better January transfer window than we have in the last 5, which is insane, isn't it? But just, yeah, I'm just frustrated, but I'm a little bit more calm about the situation. It is what it is. We're in a financial mess. We'll go through all the kind of news around the financial situation in a second. We needed to sell to buy. We didn't sell anybody because the only player we could have sold was Garnacho, but everybody wanted to keep Garnacho. The club didn't want to do that ultimately in the end. So, we are where we are. But let me know what your thoughts around the transfer window and where we are currently below, because I'd love to hear your opinions on it. So let's go through the rest of the news. So PSV are closing in on a loan deal for Tyrell Malacia. The agreement is at the final stages. His medical is booked. That was last night from Fabrizio Romano. Steve Ralston from the Manchester Evening News said that Tyrell Malacia's loan still needs to be finalised, but an option to make the deal permanent is expected to be included. As it stands, there's not really been any more updates. Apparently, he's having had his medical, and we're just waiting for the kind of announcement to see. Apparently, it is going to include some kind of, option to buy. But I'll bring you any updates when that comes out as well. But yeah, it looks like Malacia to PSV on loan is all but done. It's just not confirmed at the time of recording this video. Now, this was an interesting story as well that broke yesterday. So Manchester United have turned down an approach from Italian side Como for 18-year-old talent Gabriel Biancheri. That was from Fabrizio Romano. That's an interesting one. Has he not just had shoulder surgery or come back from an injury as well? He's a very, very talented young player. Very talented, in fact. Very good goal scorer and stuff as well. So that's an interesting one that Como were looking for him. Glad we rejected it, though, because with not bringing in any other forwards, we might need to rely on some of our reserve players if we have a few injuries in the forward line as well. But I'm glad they kind of rejected that one because I think he's a really promising prospect from the youth team. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then let's go for the Tell situation. So James Ducker from The Telegraph said that Manchester United balked at the £5 million loan fee Bayern Munich demanded for Mathys Tel. United considered it an expensive risk for a largely unproven 19-year-old. Rob Dawson from ESPN said that Manchester United's interest in Mathys Tel ended because of Bayern's insistent on a high loan fee with no option or obligation to buy built into the deal. Feeling was that they were being asked to pay for the privilege of developing him for Bayern's benefit. However, the actual kind of details, Tottenham did manage to get a buy option. From David Ornstein, said Tottenham Hotspur reached total agreement to sign Mathys Tel from Bayern Munich. Deal for 19-year-old Bayern attacker. Loan until the summer. Tottenham option to buy at €55 million on a 6-year contract. Medical complete. And France Youth International poised to sign shortly. But then Christian Folk, who's very good when it comes specifically to Bayern Munich news, has come out today with the following, saying that the Mathys Tel deal for Tottenham, so Tottenham are paying a loan fee of up to €10 million, which is about £8.3 million at the time of recording this video. Tottenham will pay the entire salary of the Tel till the summer. The buy option in the summer will be €60 million for Tottenham, and that's potentially why United pulled out of the deal. If it's €10 million for a short-term loan, apparently United wanted to include some kind of guarantee that we could get the player after it, like an obligation to buy. We were probably offering less than €60 million because there were the reports before that United are not willing to go near that kind of €60 million price tag. And do you know what? When you take a step back, as much as I would have taken Tel, you're asking for Garnacho money for a player that's not played in the Premier League yet. And what if he might go on and absolutely ball it out at Tottenham and be unbelievable for them, right? But it's a massive risk and a massive outlay, especially with an obligation to buy. I think we were looking to do an obligation to buy for maybe the reports are around like £40 million, which maybe would have been a bit more realistic. But if they were asking for like €60 million, then, it's a big risk to play for, like I said, a 19-year-old that's effectively not played and got 1 assist this season, not played in the Premier League yet. So it is... it is frustrating, but it is one of those. It is one of those where actually, when you take a step back, it's a big outlay for no benefit at the end of it. Because with Tottenham have got the option to buy, it could go back to Bayern or he could go somewhere else if he wants to. He doesn't have to sign for them, so they're kind of paying that €10 million for what it said. Rob Dawson said before, to effectively just kind of develop him for 6 months and get no gain from it as well. So let me know what you think about that though in the comments. Now, Martinez injury kind of blow confirmed by a very reliable South American journalist saying that Lisandro Martínez has torn his cruciate ligaments, and Martinez will not return for Manchester United for at least 6 months. It may take between 6 to 8 months for him to recover from the rupture of his cruciate ligaments. That's really annoying. And I wish him a speedy recovery as well. Really frustrating, isn't Martinez? Because a lot of his injuries, he is been really injury prone over the last 2 seasons, but a lot of them are from impact injuries, like from doing things on the pitch and putting his body on the line, because he is an absolute warrior on the pitch, and he does throw his body into places. Like he broke his metatarsal, that was in a challenge, came back, did his knee ligaments, that was in a tackle, and the same thing at the weekend as well, it's in a tackle. It's not like Luke Shaw or Mason Mount, where they play a couple of seconds and then you never see them for 3 months. You're like, well, what happened there? Like he's you can see the pain he was in and stuff, and it's really frustrating. And I genuinely wish him all the best and a speedy recovery as well. But that's really, really frustrating because he was starting to, find some form and become like a really influential player in the team and in the squad. So that's massively disappointing. And where that leaves us is I don't necessarily think we're short at the centre-back because we're playing the three at the back. I think Mazraoui could provide cover. Potentially, I've got an update on Luke Shaw, might be back soon as well, but for how long, who knows? Obviously, we brought in Aidan Heaven as well. He's seen as a first-teamer. Whether we'll go straight into the first team. Obviously, Dorgu's here now, so, that does free up a bit of movement we could do in the centre-back position. So it's not as bad. It's just he's influential to our kind of ball progression and stuff as well, which is where I think we'll mainly lose Martinez. But, is what it is. Let me know what you think in the comments. And just on Luke Shaw, so Luke Shaw expected to be back in the matchday squad for the FA Cup tie against Leicester. That came from United Forever 7, who are decent, but we'll wait and see kind of what happens there as well. Details about Dorgu's deal have come out. So Patrick Dorgu will earn around £40,000 a week at United. That came from Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic, and he's had some quotes to say regarding United, where he said it's a huge club. It's the biggest club in England. I'm really looking forward to working with the new manager, and I feel the system suits me really well. I'm so excited to be here. And this was an interesting one I took away from his interview, where he said, I think I'll bring a lot of intensity and physicality to the pitch, as well as a lot of energy and running. So that's exciting, that he's kind of described himself as intense, energy, running, exactly what we're missing, especially in that left wing back position as well. Thankfully, we did at least bring in a left back in January transfer. Imagine we didn't, and that would have just been an absolute, that would have been a terrible transfer window, wouldn't it, as well? But, hopefully we might get to see him on Friday as well. That would be nice to see him kind of make his debut on Friday. Let me know what you think about that, though, in the comments. Isn't it convenient as well? Luke Shaw's back at the same time we buy a left back. I've seen that doing the rounds online. Everyone's like, yeah, conveniently Luke Shaw's back when we buy a left back. We'll get Shawberto Carlos back, I'm sure, and he might stay fit for a while. In which case, fair play. But we might need a bit left centre back now as well, because he is the kind of ideal replacement for Martinez. It's just, how long is he going to stay fit for? Let me know what you think about that, though, in the comments. And then Manchester United, this January transfer window was more about getting the house in order for the summer. So that came from David Ornstein, effectively saying that this January transfer window was more about kind of, maybe potentially lining up deals for the summer. Obviously putting a few players in the shop window as well. Rashford, Anthony and Malacia, players that were going to struggle to sell anyway because Rashford wasn't getting picked. Anthony shit, and Malacia has just come back from a long-term injury and needs minutes. So those 3 players, obviously put them in the shop window and see what they're about. And obviously clearly ones that hopefully we can then get some business done for in the summer. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Samuel Lucker said that senior Manchester United sources insist the hierarchy and Ruben Amorim are pleased with United's winter business. The club believe Diego Leon, Patrick Dorgu and Aidan Heaven are high potential recruits for the long term who have not commanded high fees. So that came from Samuel Lucker. And I suppose, that is technically true. Look at Dorgu's wages. We've just gone through there, 40 grand a week, £1.5 million we paid for Aidan Heaven, seen as a very, very highly regarded young player. So they are on paper good deals. It's just unknown at the moment. We need to see whether they've got any quality on the pitch, which is the most important thing. It's all very well and good signing players for good deals, but are they good players? We need to wait and see that. See obviously how that unfolds in the future. And sticking with the summer, Samuel Lucas also said that Manchester United have prioritised summer spending amid their decision to recruit a goal scorer. Amid their decision not to recruit a goal scorer in the winter transfer window, with a new forward set to be targeted in the close season. So Samuel Lucas also kind of saying, well, we didn't want to go for a goal scorer now because we want to, maybe save some money or give us some more PSR wiggle room. Like I said, if we can sell on players like Anthony, Malacia, Rashford in the summer, as well as obviously Casemiro, if we can. Eriksen's going to go, Lindelof's going to go, Johnny Evans is going to go. So it does hopefully give us a little bit more wiggle room in the summer. Who knows, maybe Garnacho gets sold if he doesn't kind of improve or develop how Amorim wants by the end of this kind of season. That could give us a little bit more freedom as well. But I do think that we need to go for a striker in the summer because we're massively crying out for one. And ours are just very ineffective at the moment as well. So, and then Rob Dawson also said that Manchester United looked at various options to bolster Ruben Amorim's attacking option, including Mateus Tau. However, there was a concern internally that any money spent would have reduced their budget for the summer window when it was more likely that players who fit better their long-term plans will be available. So again, that kind of, it's frustrating. But it's right. If you look at, Ighalo, for example, right, great player, fan favourite when he came in, fan of the club, scored an absolute banger as well. But we paid like £12 million for Ighalo to come in on loan for effectively what was, we might as well just, he made a couple of appearances and was a body. But that was 12 million quid we just effectively just threw in the bin. And that's what Ineos are trying to not do. They were happy to do a loan deal, but only if it fitted the club and it was somebody that was in their long-term plans. So if Tell was in their long-term plans, they would have done the loan, but with an obligation to buy because it's a player that we're going to get in the summer. So you're accelerating that transfer anyway for January. But if not, they're just not going to go for the players just for the sake of going for it. Which, like I said, does leave us light. It is a risk. I get that kind of criticism, but, it's the decision they've made, and at least they're sticking with their plan because it's been like we've been, some of you have been saying in the comments for weeks as well that sell to buy and we're not bringing anybody else in. And obviously you were right. We only bought Dorgu in plus Leon, but that's a loan back and Ain't Heaven. But apart from that, it was just Dorgu that kind of came in. So it is one of these where it's like, well, okay, yep, we're in a financial mess, but if we can kind of then have a big summer, that's the kind of key. If we have a big summer, we don't have a big summer, then we can all be like annoyed to hell about the January transfer window, the fact that they've just written the season off. But if we go out and spend an extra £100 million in the summer, let's say, because of the deals they do now, then maybe short-term pain, long-term gain is the right kind of approach. But at least they are sticking with their plan, though. They've said all along, we're not going to waste money. We're not going to buy players or get loan players in just for the sake of getting it in. We've got a structure. We've got a kind of plan to get us back, and they are following through in their plan. They're not panicking and just going out and getting panic buys for the sake of getting panic buys as well. So at least, it might not be a good plan because only the future will tell that, but at least they are kind of sticking with it for now. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then sticking with the summer, Rob Dawson has also said about Giovanni Kenda. So Kenda is one of Manchester United's summer targets. The 17-year-old has a release clause of €100 million. But there is a belief that Amorim's former club will be willing to negotiate a fee close to €60 million. We've heard reports about 30 million pounds. I think it was 30 to 35 million pounds. David Ornstein said he's a player of interest, and two very good Portuguese outlets have already said effectively that is a done deal. So that's one player that it appears that we have lined up already for as a summer transfer. He's going to come in. I think it would be the right wing back. So if you've got Dorgu left wing back, Kenda at right wing back, that then helps with Ahmad and his situation as well. It doesn't obviously, we've got to get to the summer first, and that's going to be painful for the rest of this season. We can pretty much guarantee that. But, another credible source saying that Kenda is potentially one that's going to come in the summer. Now, we've had reports of another summer deal, which is Joshua Zirkzee, where apparently Napoli are watching Zirkzee for summer already. He's on their list. That came from Corriere dello Sport, who have actually been quite decent recently as well. And then the final story I've got for you is regarding Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford has no plans to become an Aston Villa player on a permanent deal at the end of this season. He wants the Barcelona move and will try again in the summer to complete the transfer. That came from Team Talk. Remember, Aston Villa have only got an option to buy. Rashford does not need to go. It's not an obligation to buy. Barcelona can come back in for him as well. I think the main kind of takeaway, though, was effectively we need to move on from that particular deal. So yeah, he might be well holding out for Barcelona in the summer as well, but that's kind of Aston Villa's worst problem, I suppose, to deal with, but it's down to Aston Villa to try to convince him to stay there as well. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let me know what you think about all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer news. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.